We all have weaknesses, but what if you could measure them scientifically? 3 months ago I had a broken neck and doctors told me I couldn't run until it healed. But in April I'm attempting to run under 3 hours at my goal race, the Manchester Marathon. In my last video I tried to run at marathon race pace and fell disastrously short. Clearly I've lost fitness from 3 months on the couch, but I want to know just how bad it is. My smartwatch can give me an estimate of my fitness, but I'm not sure if it's accurate. So I went for a lab test that showed me exactly what's going on in my body, but I wasn't prepared for what the results would show me. So I've come down to the University of the West of Scotland today for some maximal exercise testing. This test would confirm where my fitness is at and what I'm facing if I want to run Sub-3 in Manchester. I'll be revealing all my numbers later in this video and comparing them to the stats on my Garmin watch to see how accurate it is. I was met by Dr. Mia Burley, the lab director and accredited sport and exercise scientist. Dr. Burley showed me into the testing lab, which was an amazing facility with one of the best treadmills I've ever run on. After a few health questions and taking my height and weight, we started the lactate threshold test. First we need a quick science lesson. When we run, our bodies use carbohydrate for energy and a substance called lactate is produced. At easy and moderate intensities, lactate appears in the blood, but it's cleared just as fast. As intensity increases, lactate builds up faster than the body can remove it. As lactate builds up in the blood, we start to fatigue, which eventually limits how fast we can run. This test would measure how fast I can run before I hit my lactate threshold, a really important factor in marathon performance. I started off running at an easy pace for 4 minutes. Dr. Burley asked me to rank my effort on a scale from 6 to 20. The assistant took a blood sample from my finger and measured the lactate levels in my blood. She then increased the pace by half a kilometre per hour and we repeated the process for another 4 minutes. We carried on increasing the speed until the lactate levels in my blood started rising significantly, known as the lactate turn point. I would get my results in about a week and I'll be breaking them down later in this video. There was one more test to do, the VO2 max test, but first I thought I'd give you a quick update on how the training's going. I'm almost 5 weeks into the training block now, which means it's 13 weeks till Manchester. After being out for so long with a broken neck and a broken wrist, I was worried about ramping the mileage up, but it's been going great. My last 2 weeks I've logged over 50 miles and this is due to be a 56-mile week. I can feel some fitness returning, but that top end speed is just what's lacking at the moment, and that's why these tests are so important. Okay, back to the lab for the VO2 max test. This is the hard one. Another super quick science lesson. Your VO2 max is the limit of how much oxygen your body can use when you're running flat out. That's it. A high VO2 max is a good thing for marathon runners. For this test, I had to wear a mask that measured airflow and the oxygen and carbon dioxide in my breath. That would let the lab calculate how much oxygen my body was using. During the test, I would run increasingly faster until I was maxed out and couldn't continue. Because I would be going to the point of failure, I had to wear this harness attaching me to the treadmill for safety. We started at an incline of 1% and a speed of 11 km per hour, a bit faster this time, and increased the speed by half a kilometre per hour every minute until exhaustion. We had a few problems during this test. I kept accidentally pulling out these wires and we had to stop a couple of times to reset. But Mia was happy enough that I had reached VO2 max and we called it there. So that's the test all done. It was a really interesting experience. I should get the results in about 7 days. Okay, I've got the results back from my lab test. Mia's sent over this report and it just breaks down all the results. Let's start with the good news. My VO2 max came out at 50.3, which is actually really close to my Garmin watch's estimate of 51. It's a bit lower than I've seen in the past, but my VO2 max will have dropped a bit during those 3 months when I couldn't train. Still, a VO2 max of 50 puts me in the superior category for my age group. I'm pretty happy with that. The lactate threshold results are where things aren't looking so good. This table shows how the levels of lactate in my blood increased during the test. Starting from a baseline of 0.86 millimoles per litre, it increased a bit, but stayed relatively stable as we started to speed up the treadmill. But then around 12 km per hour, the lactate levels go above 2, and then increase significantly up to 4.2 millimoles. On this chart, the blue line shows my lactate increasing until we get to here, the lactate turn point. Past that point, the lactate starts to shoot up. When that happens, everything starts to feel a lot harder and you can't keep running for very long. On this chart, my lactate threshold is at 12.5 kilometers per hour, which is 7 minutes 43 per mile, or 4:48 per kilometre. That's equivalent to a marathon time of 3 hours 22 minutes. But you can only run at lactate threshold for about an hour, so marathons are typically run between 5 to 8% below lactate threshold. So if we add about 7%, it's more like a marathon time of 3 hours 36. That's really bad. I'm absolutely miles off where I need to be. To be honest, that's pretty close to what I saw when I tried to run marathon pace of 6:52 per mile, and I could only manage 7:22. I did this lab test just before I started training, so it should be my absolute slowest pace. I'm hoping to do it again before the race to see how much impact a structured training plan can have. So it's clear I've got a lot of work to do to get back to marathon fitness. Luckily, I'm following the PFIT's 1870 plan, which stands for 18 weeks of training at up to 70 miles per week. This plan is structured to give me the best possible preparation for the marathon. The best way to increase my lactate threshold is to run at or just beyond that pace in a structured and controlled way. For example, the plan gives me workouts like this: 8 to 10 miles with 30 to 35 minutes at lactate threshold pace. Now that I know exactly what my lactate threshold is, I can make sure I'm executing these workouts properly. The report also gave me my exact training zones, so I know how hard or easy I need to be running for any given workout. But I'm in the base building phase at the moment, so the most important thing is just to get lots of consistent miles and do all the small things right. So I've come to Valencia for a week of training. That's where I am now. That's going to be the next video, so if you want to see that, hit the subscribe button and I'll see you in the next one.